Hey there everyone, and welcome back to the Mindful Musician. If you're new here on this channel, we explore the independence and interdependency of musicianship. You'll get to know and understand your inner world better, become more creative, understand music as a foreign language, and gain insight and healthy practices related to being in a band or collaborating with other musicians. My name is Cosmin. I'm a guitarist, singer, and a professional educator, martial artist from Bucharest, Romania. And today we'll talk about 3 methods that I find really useful in training one's relative pitch. Let's start by clarifying what relative pitch is. Relative pitch, in its simplest form, means recognizing a particular note's function in respect to another given note. Basically, we recognize a distance between 2 notes, or a so-called interval. For instance, if I play an E note and this other note, I may ask you to tell me what note I played after the E note. Just by listening and recognizing the unique sound between these 2 notes. There are 3 possible methods that you can use to train yourself for this. Number 1, anchoring. This means associating that interval with a part of a song, soundtrack, sound effect, or naturally occurring sound that is familiar to you. For instance, I associate the distance between any root, which is the 1, and a perfect fifth, which is the 5, with the sound made by the trumpets announcing the arrival of an important person in a Middle Ages themed movie. The distance between a root, a 1, and a perfect fourth, a 4, are the first 2 notes from Bride's March. It doesn't matter what root you use because the distances will be the same. You're not aiming to recognize the actual names of the notes, but the distance between them. If you find this interesting and you want to practice it, here's my list of personal anchors for each of the following intervals. You can always use these or find your own. Now let's move on to the second method, memorizing intervals using your voice. This method is by far the most organic one that I have been using so far. It involves using your voice to reproduce the interval you have just played on your instrument. Some people would argue that it's difficult, but take a moment to think about the fact that whenever you learn the chorus to your favorite song, you sing a bunch of intervals one after the other, so you might as well give this a try. Here are the exact steps. Pick a root, meaning the note that constitutes the landmark to which the interval you will practice is relative to. Let's say the E note for the sake of consistency. Pick the interval you want to train. You can use the list and the PDF file containing all the theory principles you can find in the text description of this video, and train that interval exclusively in that particular day for about 15 to 20 minutes. Use a chart featuring the notes on the neck of your guitar. It's also available for download in the text description of this video. Figure out all the positions in which you can find the E and the interval you have chosen for the day. Pay attention so that E stays the lowest note out of the 2. Otherwise, you can play the chosen intervals on any string whatsoever as long as it's higher in pitch than the chosen E. For each position, play the E note and the chosen interval, allowing the notes to ring out aplenty. Play them again and try to sing along and imitate the pitches as close as possible. Play the E on the guitar and sing the interval. You may check afterwards using your guitar to see how accurate you were. You may try to play the interval and sing the E. Try it, it's fun. Redo steps 4 to 6 for each position you have found for that interval on that day. Start the next day by going through steps 1 to 7 for another type of interval until you nail them all. Here's a tip. Use a chromatic tuner in order to check how accurate your pitching is. That means start the tuner, and when you go through steps 6, check out the interval you are singing. What does the tuner say about the note you sang? Is it accurate? If not, adjust your voice accordingly until the tuner says you are singing the right note. It will take about 12 days for you to cover all the intervals, and then let's see step number 9.
Test your might.
Record a bunch of random intervals having E as a root note with your phone's recorder. Write them down on a piece of paper which you can give to someone close to you for keeping. After 2 or 3 days have passed, listen to your recording and without the aid of anything else but your ears, figure out what intervals you are listening to and write them down. Then ask for the piece of paper you gave away and compare your answers. This is how you can super organically learn to recognize intervals by ear. If you managed to pull it off, congrats buddy, you did it. You can redo the process with any group of notes, arpeggios or scales, as long as they are manifested in a melodic fashion. That means the notes making up the structure are being played in a row and not all at once. The third method is based on using an app called Perfecteer. It's the perfect companion when you have limited time, as in less than 10 minutes, and you're away from your instrument. By the way, I'm not in any way associated with this app. I just highly recommend it because it helped me quite a lot. Try it out, as it has dedicated chapters with tons of tasks for intervals, chords, arpeggios, scales, and modes. If you want to get the best results, I think the best approach is to practice these 3 methods in parallel. Let me know in the comments below which one of these works best for you, or if you know others. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell if you like what you've just watched and learned. I'm enthusiastically looking forward to sharing as much knowledge and valuable skill development practices in guided activities, why and how to videos, interviews, and collaborations. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.